Hello? Hello?
Podcast Network Asia.
Welcome to She Talks Peace, a podcast that highlights the role of women peacebuilders around the world in bringing lasting peace and security to communities. Eavesdrop on their communities and get to know their stories. From the Philippines to Malaysia, from Indonesia to Palestine, from Myanmar to the United States. Their dreams and hopes for a world without violence and a world where every woman and girl can be whoever she wants to be. Hosted by Amina and Ruth, President of the Philippine Center for Islam and Democracy. This is She Talks Peace.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 62 of She Talks Peace. I'm Amina Rasul of the Philippine Center for Islam and Democracy, joining you from Manila. Last week, we had our conversation when I was in Bangkok, and we were talking about women, peace, and security with our guest who came from Cameroon. And today, we're looking at a very important field of technology. You know, in Bangkok, I had an occasion to speak with a big group of women from Myanmar, most of them in exile. And because they're in exile, the only way they could communicate with each other and with their communities back home is virtually through social media. And very, very quickly, they had to familiarize themselves with this technology that's still relatively new to many women, even women in Southeast Asia. And I was just thinking, how come the field of technology seems to be the domain of men? I mean, you look at people like Elon Musk, who's now going to be buying Twitter after on again, off again negotiations. He's going to be buying Twitter. And if you look up the list of the most influential tech leaders of all time, you will see a long line of men: Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. From Asia, you've got Jack Ma. And the question is, where are the women? Maybe they don't make the list because girls all over the world aren't really encouraged to pursue careers in technology. They tell us that science, mathematics, technology are for boys, not for girls. In the Philippines, that's also true. That's why there is a drive within the academic institutions to get more and more girls interested in science and technology and mathematics. It's not that young girls don't have the brains for technology. I think it's really more the fact that we have been, in many ways, brainwashed to think that we cannot. Fortunately, there is a network, a growing network of powerful women all over the world in technology who are encouraging young women, girls, to pursue careers in what you call STEM, science, technology, and engineering and mathematics. And our guest for today is a powerful woman in her own right, based in the Philippines. She is the president and chief executive officer of PhilCarbon, a dynamic company with a growing portfolio of renewable energy projects at various stages of development in the wind, hydropower, biomass, and geothermal sectors. She is also president of Upgrade Energy Philippines, a joint venture between her own company and Upgrade Belgium. She's chairperson on renewable energy and energy efficiency of the European Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines and vice president for international affairs of the Philippine Energy Efficiency Alliance. This is how I got to know her originally in her field of energy. And the thing is, besides her work in clean energy, she's also very, very passionate about using technology to empower women, having co founded an initiative called Connected Women, which I hope she's going to tell us about and get us all excited about connecting. Our guest today, my dear friends, is Ruth Yu-Owen. Welcome to She Talks Peace, Ruth.
Thanks, Amina. I'm excited to share what we do at Connected Women to get women in technology.
You know, dear listeners, Ruth and I got to know each other uh, because we come from the same region. We come from uh, Sulu, although Ruth spent most of her life living in Zamboanga City. Her family escaped the armed conflict that hit us in the early 70s. But you know what, dear listeners? This is so unfair. My friend Ruth actually works more closely now with my son, Iba, because both of them are now in the field of technology. So Ruth and Iba is working with her on Connected Women. So Ruth, tell us more about Connected Women. Why is my son working with you, Ruth?
So it's amazing, right? Iba, I met Iba because he spoke at the conference, and I'm thinking, oh, they must need something because okay. So Connected Women is a community of about 80,000 women across the
Wow.
Philippines, Singapore, Pakistan, the Middle East. But our ultimate goal is to actually get women in technology so that they can have work from home opportunities. And I mean, you know that the Philippines, we have an exodus of people leaving to find greener pastures in other countries, but we want to bring that opportunities home for women.
Mm-hmm.
My co-founder Gina Romero, her mother was a domestic help in the 70s. She went to the UK, married Gina's father, and so they had Gina. So she's British Filipina. Her passion is to stop shipping our mothers out, right? Looking after other people's children, but who's looking after our children, right? A
Right.
lot of women,
Right.
yeah. And so I think this is something that we want to change. And now we have technology. Technology is a game changer for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
especially women, right? So the fact that we are doing this podcast is a magic of technology, right? That was
That's
not
right.
here in the past. And so y- okay, we train women in artificial intelligence data annotation, ida for short. But what is it? We launched this together with UN Women at the height of the pandemic, because they asked this question: how can we help women? And we thought, okay, well, this is one way of doing it. So what is artificial intelligence data annotation? When we're browsing, I mean, now we sometimes get stopped and they ask you a question. We want to make sure you're not a robot, right?
Yes.
Did
Right.
you
Right.
know that? Yeah. And then so you say, okay, and then they go, please click the traffic lights or click the storefront, click this.
Yes.
That's
Chimney.
data annotation in the simplest form. Repetitive task that for a machine to learn one object, it needs millions and millions of data,
Mm-hmm.
one object. So you need the human in the loop, right? So people getting
Right.
intimidated with artificial intelligence displacing people is actually not exactly true. Who gives the intelligence to the machine? It's the human. So Connected Women wants to remove that cumbersome, repetitive task of training machine and then giving it back to the tech people. For example, Iba. Let's go back to Iba. Iba is the co-founder or founder of Packworks, right?
That's
And
right.
they're
Yeah.
helping mothers in sari store, um, and make things easier for them to do business. And they have massive database that needs
Yeah.
cleaning,
Right.
right? So when you have all this information that's repetitive, misspelled, and all that, what sort of data do you have? We call it like data that needs cleaning or dirty.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
so what we do at Connected Women is we get all those data, we clean them so that when we
Mm-hmm.
give it back to Packworks, they're clean, so they're more efficient, they're more, it's like garbage in, garbage out, right? So we once we clean that, then that means their data is clean, so they're able to use it. They're more efficient, right? Things like that. So yeah, that's what we do at Connected Women. Our goal is really to give opportunity so that our mothers can stay home, be with their family, be a contributor to the income of the family, give back the dignity of women, and I think that's
So,
important, right?
so a clear example, Ruth. You've got a woman, a mother in Basilan or Tawi-Tawi or Sulu island provinces in southern Philippines. So you've got a woman who's jobless because pandemic, or she doesn't really have access to the workplace. What do you
Mm.
do first with these women? What kind of training do you give them? And then how do you connect them with the workplace?
Okay, so let me get back to why I was attracted to Connected Women in the first place. So, of course, I'm my mom's tausug, right? Like you.
Yep.
So I always go back to Sulu in different ways. I bring books and read to children. I go with the Philippine Marines, work with them, work with doctors. I support football for peace. Um, but every time I go there, I take photos to raise awareness and post it on Facebook, for example, and and then people react like real time, right? And so I'm thinking, wow, connectivity in Holo, for example,
Mm-hmm.
is good, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so when my co-founder came, and when I met her in 2016, she said, and I thought, well, I don't feel like what we do on medical mission is enough. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's sustainable on the long term. So I thought, wow, technology, if we can train these women, um, take that opportunity to far-flung areas, conflict areas, then we could probably change the world for a better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we train them? We train them online. They don't have to come to
Okay.
Manila.
All
So,
right.
we teach them how to use Zoom, and then we
Mm-hmm.
communicate with them on Facebook Messenger on a daily basis. We train them for 15 days. And, because of our private partnerships with the likes of Shell Philippines, Smart Telecoms, Globe, Sanofi, um, all these Aboitiz, we pay them while they're being trained
Oh,
so
that's
that they
great.
can. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
You're paid to train so that you finish. When you finish, you're being upskilled or
Mm-hmm.
reskilled so that you have
Mm-hmm.
the tools. Now, how do they get the work? Connected Women is actually a specialized BPO, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're not a training company. We're actually trying to give a sustainable and scalable livelihood for women. And so they become our pool of women. And then they're constantly upskilled. We teach them how to use Google tools, uh, all this Excel, anything that can open the doors for them to work online. So we partner with TESDA. We're also partnered with the Department of Information and Communications Technology.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's really public-private partnership. We are partners with government and the private sector. Uh, making it, making life easier for women, give them opportunities. Filipinos, when you see them in other countries, they have two jobs,
That's right.
right?
At least two
Not
jobs.
at least two jobs, but that means they're not, so they're capable, and they're very, women. We saw, we work with the local government unit of Isabela Basilan province, Mayor
Mm-hmm.
Dada Hataman, and she's
Mm-hmm.
a big supporter of connected women. She said that they really appreciate this sort of training for women, because um, yeah, it gives them opportunity, but also she said otherwise it would have been another missed opportunity for them. She said, we don't want to be just recipient of grants, we want to be contributors to society. Isn't that
That's right.
beautiful? I mean, for a
Right.
mayor that's so progressive,
Yeah.
and we know that 5% of the local government budget goes to gender and development, and that's
So
where she used
how
that.
do you find the women, Ruth? I mean, if somebody wants to be part of Connected Women, wants to have income while working from home, how do they get through to you?
So we we are on Facebook. But what happens is we want to go to the grassroots. So we
Mm-hmm.
partnered with local government, of Isabela, Zamboanga, Rojas, Legazpi. So once we go there, we give them a profile of women.
Mm-hmm.
This is the profile, and then they help us find them. Initially, we said, this is so simple, anyone can do it. The question is, are you on Facebook? And they go, yes. Did you
Okay.
know, Amina, 70 million Filipinos are on social media?
Yeah, I think we're number one in Southeast Asia or Asia for that matter.
Exactly. So that's a low-hanging fruit, right? That
Mm-hmm.
means they're not technophobes. They're not afraid.
Mm-hmm.
For them, a smartphone is where they communicate with their family, their friends. So we tweak it a little bit, and make it easier. So we thought, okay, let's get the nanais or the moms,
Mm-hmm.
train them, and then we realized that they're not too keen. No, well, not all of them, but some are keen, some are not. And then we realized, because of the pandemic, there are um, women or nanais have daughters, and these daughters have laptops,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
they are more technology inclined, right? They're scholars, and then and they like the fact that they have work from home opportunities to augment their baon, or their what's baon in English?
Allowance, school
Yes.
allowance.
Yes, yes. So there, but other women can just contact connected women if they have this. So we are trying to scale, right? We are trying to get people to invest in connected women, so that we can hire more people, we can get more jobs in. So BPO style, we are like a business process outsourcing. We're
Yeah.
in the projects we get, we comply with the data privacy,
Mm-hmm.
the technicalities of it all, and then we turn around, we train the women in the um, how the client wants it, and then we pay them a living wage.
Yeah.
So
How to
we
clean
do not
data.
underpay them because they're in the
Mm-hmm.
province, and no,
Right.
everyone's the
Right.
same, right? You put in the same amount of work, you get paid the same way as someone in Manila.
Right.
So
You know, Ruth, the last time we saw each other face to face was when we went to Marawi, remember? And this was like
yes,
what, 4 years ago, Ruth? When we went up
yes,
there to look at what was happening with the women evacuees, and you were already thinking about how do you get them to be part of Connected Women. But Ruth, when we went there, you only had a few thousand women
yeah,
in Connected Women. The pandemic has been good to you. Now you've got 80,000
yeah. So
in your women force.
you're right. Connected Women is a tribe. In fact, a lot of women were saying that because of the friendship that was developed, it helped them
Hmm.
cope with the pandemic, right? They found friends that support them, emotionally. like this. So yeah, we grew our community through our partnership with Facebook. We've been partners with Facebook in the last 5 years. So we
Mm-hmm.
go around the country training women to use Facebook and Instagram to grow their businesses. Um, so basically, what we do is we are providing the partners or the women that can do the um how do you say that the transformation from manual to digitalization, yeah, to
Mm-hmm.
digitize things. So for example, you have all these manuals and all you want it digitized. uh our women can do those things.
I do that.
um
Yeah.
Yes, so we want to we want people to know that we exist, that we find ways. There's nothing, when people think about how do we help women, it's always um about cottage industry,
That's right.
weaving, or no, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Food
nothing wrong, but
processing.
we want to augment that and be more relevant in the 21st century. We call
Yeah.
it, the fourth industrial revolution,
That's
but we
right. But
seem
where are
to.
the women?
Yes,
I
exactly.
mean,
Okay, I want to talk about
this is
women
this is
and
yeah, but this is something I really want you to give your opinion on, Ruth. You're talking about the
Mhm.
fourth industrial revolution and the fact that women aren't there. So how, Ruth, do we get more and more girls, young women, to realize that technology is an area where they can also excel? How do you remove the brainwashing, Ruth?
you really have to start from when they're young and then in school. But for us, we we're always um visible, and we talk about it all the time. Whoever wants to listen, we partner with everyone that already has an existing community that will listen. So having a community like Connected Women, when they see someone does this and they go, I can do that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not hard. So yes, that's one way of doing it, right? By sharing other people's experiences about technology. And I think the normal answer is, I'm not techie, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
That's true.
yeah, can you talk about this? And go, oh, I'm not techie. But
I'm digitally illiterate.
yeah, but then again, I said, but what's techie?
Yeah.
Can you use your smartphone? Yes. Can you send your email? Can you do Facebook? Yeah, but that's all I can do. But you can do more, right? So you need to just challenge that mindset and 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 change it. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. But that means that you have to actually, Ruth, you have to spend a little time lobbying with the Department of Education to really promote to the girls that
Yes.
they can excel in mathematics and science and not be afraid, not be afraid of it. So what's the way forward for Connected Women, Ruth? How are you going to expand? Are you thinking of maybe franchising, so you have a similar operation in Indonesia, in Myanmar, and in other countries?
We have 110 million Filipinos, and probably half of that are women. So we want to stay here and
Here
make
first.
sure that we solve our problems at home first,
Mm-hmm.
and scale that so that we can change the paradigm, no, the story of women, and stop the exodus that is happening in the last 60 years or so. So yun. um in fact, how do we want to scale? We want to scale the jobs that we're providing, right? The work. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, we're BPO. We need more projects to come in so that these
Mm-hmm.
women will have more sustainable um, jobs, right? So that we also give the option for women to have flexibility. So we don't say, okay, you need to work because this is your. So we ask them, are you available this time for this project? And they'll be like, not this time, but I can do the next one. So there's flexibility. The world is changing, right?
Right, right.
Especially, people are become um like no nomadic. You
Mm-hmm.
can be sitting on the beach and then you're doing
Oh
your work,
yeah.
sending out your email and all that, right? I miss the lockdown because I can go to Batangas and
And work
stay there
from
for
there.
weeks, right? And still be able to do my Zoom
Right.
call, everything. And this is how it's gonna be. It's not gonna change. It will only change to be more um technology driven. and
Mm-hmm.
um and for us to be focused on women, I think is important, because this is the gender that think that they are. Look at me, Amina. At 53, I co-founded a tech company or a community called
Mm-hmm.
Connected Women. My
Mm-hmm.
background is really renewable energy
Right.
efficiency.
Yeah.
But I think, what does that tell you? It's having an open mind to to say, give that a shot, right? Never say never. And I think
Mm-hmm.
once you have that mindset, you are putting an like an obstacle in front of you. You're the only one that does that. So you're the only one that can remove that and say, no, I want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to do it. I think I can do it. I'm gonna give it a shot. So I think women should have that sort of mindset, and not really be afraid to fail. The only
Yeah.
way to succeed is to fail many times, as we know,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And
So
one of the upsides, Ruth, of this of the connected women methodology, if you will, when you look at what's happening, for instance, to women,
mhm,
girls who work with the BPO, and who
yeah,
have these really crazy hours. Like if you're in the night shift, you work from midnight to 8 a.m. And studies have shown that this has impact, for instance, on your mental well-being. Not only that, but sexual harassment cases are really kind of high in the
yeah,
industry, as well as violence against women. So this alternative way of doing BPO, because you are
yeah.
working from home and you're still with your children, they can see you,
Mhm.
seems like a no-brainer. Do you foresee, Ruth, that this is going to become more and more a practical alternative to the BPOs as we see them now?
I would think so, because during the pandemic, people were working from home. And
Mm-hmm.
then when their companies actually demanded that they have to now go back to work,
Mm-hmm.
there were quite a number that actually
Yeah.
said, this is not
No,
for
thank
me.
you. Yeah.
No, thank you. I'm gonna do a work from home. I'm gonna work for a company that will let me work from home, and judge me, or look at my performance based on what I put in, not the number of hours that I'm sitting in the office. And traffic, let's not forget the horrendous traffic in the Philippines, right? I mean, it's just yeah,
I was just uh, watching the news in the United States about the resurgence of traffic, and they were interviewing this woman who was commuting. I'm not sure if it was in Detroit, and she said there are times when she's on the road when she actually cries because
yeah,
of the traffic and the fact that she's paying an enormously high price for gasoline while
yeah,
wasting her time in traffic. So I can understand why more and more people are looking for alternative ways of working, and working from home certainly is a feasible
yeah,
alternative. The other
yeah.
thing that I wanted to ask you, Ruth, because you've been doing a lot to get women in conflict affected areas to become part of Connected Women. How do you see technology playing a part in really helping us strengthen the foundation for peace and development in conflict areas like Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi?
Jobs, giving them jobs, you know
Yeah.
will help a lot. And we know, Like when I go there, I speak to people in
Mm-hmm.
Holo, in Sulu, and all Basilan. No one wants to do what they're doing, carry arms. the
Mm-hmm.
the very young kids carry arms because of out of desperation,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you give their mom jobs or their
Mm-hmm.
sisters or whatever, nobody wants to be bad people. we
Yeah.
we were we were born out of our parents, making love and all that. But so I feel, I and deep in my heart, that once you are able to provide jobs to to women in our case,
Mm-hmm.
that will solve part of the conflict uh, that is in Mindanao, for example, right?
Yeah.
So
You know what, Ruth? Earlier today, I was actually part of a conversation on women, peace, and security. And one of the issues that came up is women's employment and entrepreneurship. And a while back, one woman from Sulu told me, how can I even think about helping my community with peace and development
mhm.
when I don't even have money to pay for tricycle? In Thailand, you call it tuk tuk.
Yeah,
To go to a meeting. So you are absolutely right. The issue of employment of women, entrepreneurship of women, should really be a cornerstone of anything to do with women, peace, and security.
economic empowerment, right?
Economic empowerment is key, and connected women is showing us the way. Oh
Yes.
my goodness, Ruth, time flies when you're having fun. But before we go, Miss Ruth Owen, can
Mm-hmm.
you share a message to girls, young women, older women, men who are listening to us on how to be part of the uh, fourth industrial revolution? How do we prepare?
So first of all, just open your mind. The world is your oyster. You can do anything you set your mind on. So don't be intimidated by technology. Technology is a friend. It's a friend that connects us and actually gives us opportunity to work and get paid, right? So when there's opportunity like that, just take it, and you will be wonderfully surprised with what's gonna happen, right, for the better. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Ruth. And I hope to see you face to face sometime soon. And then we can have our favorite tausug coffee. Coffee
And Ja,
from Holo and Ja. Dear listeners, Ja is a really good cookie. I can't describe it to you. It's made of rice flour, coconut milk, and sugar, and it's so great. You've got to come to the Philippines, visit us in Sulu, and we'll serve you
yeah,
native coffee and Ja. But thank you so much, Ruth, for joining us
it's
today
a
and
pleasure.
sharing us all of the fantastic work you're doing with Connected Women, now at 80,000 strong. And most likely after 2 years, it's going to be 800,000 strong. And
Maybe
dear
a million.
listeners, if you have questions, comments, ideas that you want to share with our guest today, with Ruth, do send us an email at she talks peace podcast at gmail.com. Let me repeat that. Email us at she talks peace podcast at gmail.com. She Talks Peace is now on social media. Give us a follow at She Talks Peace on both Twitter and Instagram to get updated on the latest episode releases. So, once again, thank you so much, Ruth, for joining us today. And to our dear listeners, thanks for listening. This is Amina Rasul from the Philippine Center for Islam and Democracy saying, see you soon, take care, and don't be afraid of technology. Listen to Ruth. Bye.
Bye.
She Talks Peace is brought to you in partnership with Podcast Network Asia and Podmetrics, the easiest way to monetize your podcast. For more information, check out their website at podcastnetwork.asia and podmetrics.co.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.